Okay, here's the shocks. Alright, so these are the pusher shocks. I got 2 of those. And these are the Gabriel, that's for the front axle on the trailer. Okay. Very hard to find. So now that I have them, you know, it's easy to get a shop that can install them. Still by the truck because I need to take a picture of the of the oil filter, because if you guys remember, I lost that cap and I was driving for about a week with no cap on the tank. But now, you know, you can hardly see this. I don't know how we gonna manage to find some kind of weeks something. Hold on. Weeks. And of course, it doesn't want to. Some people might ask, why did they wait till darkness, right, to do this? But basically, now that I have the shocks, right, I have the shocks. These are the shocks, they go in here. They are like horizontal. And then the first axle of the trailer, right? And then I'm going to replace the oil in here. And I'm gonna put snowplow oil, is what they call it. And I called the guy who installed this. I said, do you guys remember the volume? And they said they looked up the records because they installed this when the truck was new. They said it's 24 gallons US, and so I need about 3/4. So I'm buying 3 pails of snowplow oil because, again, I'm afraid the oil can be contaminated because I was riding without that, the cap, and plus winter is coming. I want winter oil, and I just want to replace this because the truck is 1.5 years old and I never replaced it. You never know, right? There might be some junk in there. All right, so it's actually I might leave this here. So it's Monday, I think, right? Monday, I was searching for a load, didn't find a load. It was very close. But what happened today is I got my money. You know, the guy made sorry, I was just checking if we were recording or not. But the broker made a mistake in the instructions. You know, like a lot of our banks here in Canada, like we don't have as many banks as you guys have in the States, because I know most of my viewers are Americans. But what we do have, we have like 4 or 5 major banks, but they have hundreds of branches. You know, like every decent town, you can have a branch of that one of these big 5 or big 6 banks, right? And so what happened is that the guy used, I gave him the SWIFT code, which is the code for international wire transfers. And yeah, I did find my bank, like the big bank, right? And then they put in the main branch in downtown Toronto. And my name, everything is correct, and my account number inside a branch. But what they didn't do is they didn't include the transit number, which is like a zip code for the branch, you know, like which branch exactly it goes to. Because in theory, they said it's in real life it's highly possible, but it does happen that two people can have the same account, you know, because the accounts are not unique. But the guy did include my full name and my full mailing address here in Cambridge, Ontario. And so, and I called them this morning. I called them. I said, this is the problem. The guy did not include the transit number, so we called the wire department of my bank. And somehow, thanks goodness, with these imperfect wiring instructions, they allowed the money to be credited to my account. So the guy sent the money from Ohio at 4:20 p.m. on Friday. And today at 3 p.m. Monday, I saw them in my account, you know, so I was so happy. So that's one thing that happened. And then another thing is, you know, this time of year it's time to renew your transponder for the border crossing. So you have to pay 400, what is it, $40 US to CBP, Customs and Border Protection USA. And for some reason, usually I just go there because it's the same truck, you know, like you can when you change companies, you can actually keep the same transponder and just, you know, register it to the new company. But if you're changing trucks, you must use a different transponder. So in my case, it's the same truck as last year, right? And normally you just go into that special website, punch in your username, your password, you know, just give them your credit card and you're good. But in this case, they said the message on screen was, oh, looks like you're using an old version of our transponder, so we're gonna send you a new transponder, like free, for the same price. It's just that, you know, they want me to have a new one. And so that's what I stopped by my post office and I see like a thick envelope with something inside, you know, and I open it and it's my new transponder. And then IFTA, the fuel tax people, finally sent me a statement saying that I'm a good boy, my statement is received, but for some reason I still owe them $36. What? And then they're very nice about it, you know. I love how IFTA, I don't know if they're the same in US, but here in Canada, when they send you a letter saying that you owe them money, right? And this is the first time I hear about it, because I send them the check first time when I did my calculation, but then they do their own little audit on what you send them, and then, you know, sometimes for some reason they decided I owe them more money. And so now when they send me this letter, they're starting very nice, you know. Dear Mr. Sergey Drachev, thank you for your, you know, filing of the tax for the quarter. The balance as of today is $36 Canadian. Okay, but then the next paragraph, all of a sudden we go into kind of like, you are the criminal territory, you know, like, if we do not receive the full payment of the outstanding balance within 30 days, your IFTA account will be revoked. Like, what? Come on. You know, you just started so nice, right? It's Christmas season. why are you doing all this? Because of $36, and this is the first time I hear about this, right? Like I'm telling you, they're crazy. Crazy people. Like I always joke, I say, you know, can I just pay you $100 so that I don't have to do this BS, you know, like spend 5 hours every 3 months calculating this meager cents I owe you for the fuel. You know, that's my suggestion. I think if you have one truck, one trailer, you should just, you know, be able to pay them a fixed amount. How much you want to pay? Okay, $100 Canadian. I'll give you $100 if I have zero paperwork. How's that? But no, because they already have a staff of like 200 people. You know, there's 2 people opening your envelope, and there's 2 people reading the fine print, and 10 people inspecting your signature. So you cannot do that. You cannot just pay them $100 and not send them any paperwork, because then they'll have people kind of like, you know, spreading their hands and Mary, what do I do now? Bureaucrats, right? Cannot live with them, cannot live without them. And so that's the thing. So I send them the check. I hope they're not gonna send in a Russian mafia to break my knees. And yeah, and then some guy sent me a letter. I don't know. He says comments are disabled on your channel. So he sent me a full-blown letter with two pages of comments. You know, like some of your YouTube guys are so persistent. You know, well, comments are enabled, but now I insist on monitoring the comments. You know. So now, you know, I discovered a cool formula. So I only leave comments where they say, Sergey Drachev, you're good, you know, you're cool, we love your videos. So any kind of criticism is deleted. So it just makes me feel so good, you know, as a creator. All right, and so what are we doing here? We're trying to find parking somewhere away from drunk people, so that nobody hits my beloved car. And of course, as a professional trucker, you always back into the parking space. You never drive in. Okay, that's just bad karma. You always back. So in case of an alien attack, or see, that's my camera. In case of an alien attack or earthquake, you are the first to leave. All right, so let's go check in. And yeah, because I didn't find a load, you know. Usually I find a load for the next day, and now it's Monday, so clearly, since I didn't find anything for tomorrow, Tuesday, if I find something tomorrow, Tuesday, it'll be for Wednesday. So I booked a hotel for 2 nights, you know, and I'm gonna have some fun. So, where were we? Nice menu. But this time I brought my own water, because these guys, they leave this, you know, water, and first time you assume it's free, but then when you check out, you discover it's $3, you know. So now I got a much better. I like this, you know, glacial water. Tastes much better. Anyway, so what I was saying, so this is my IFTA, where they sent me the statement with corrections, and so now I owe them $36. I send them the check. Done. Now this is the border protection. See, they send you this little packet. It's like, it's a very tiny piece of plastic with the code, and I think it's a magnetic stripe in. in the middle. How much did I pay? Because they keep raising the prices, of course, all the time. Renewal. $408.34 US. That's what it costs 1 year, because you must have this. You must have this on the windshield of your truck to cross the US border. Before they accepted cash and debit credit cards right at the booth. And I think one-time payment was about, it started like $9 or $10, then it became 13, and then finally they said, that's it, we're not we're not taking money at the booth, so you have to go and prepay before you show up at the border. And that prepayment was like crazy, because you need to have your special account number where you log in, or let's say, imagine if you have a bunch of drivers, they have to log in, pay with a credit card. I think I tried that once, and that's it. So pretty much nowadays, as far as I know, in Ontario, all carriers use these transponders, so it's not cheap. And then I got my new Rogers bill. What happened is that, I use a lot of data, right? I have a Verizon phone, I have now a Verizon tablet, and I have a Rogers for Canada. And what's cool about this is that they allow you to keep your number, so I can enter US, and I think that's the ideal deal, where your phone, people can reach you no matter where you are. For me, it's just business expense, right? I need to be able to accept calls in both US and Canada. And so that's why they give you that, and you use your data plan. And it's pretty much unlimited. It's kind of like the way they charge you. It's, the more data you use, the higher the fees are. But it's pretty much unlimited, But the problem is that when I cross into US, it switches to AT&T, or in some rare cases, T-Mobile. And most places it works okay, but if you go into like Midwest, like Iowa, Nebraska, there's no signal, And that's why I got a Verizon phone, which has in my experience, has a much better coverage. And also with these guys, I got a pretty much, it was like $200 Canadian. I got a tablet, LG, I forgot what it's called, but it's LG 7-inch tablet. And quite often you guys ask me what kind of a GPS I use. I don't. I stopped using these navigation GPS devices because they're very limited, and I knew a long time ago that the future was with internet connected devices. And so I have that tablet, which is always on the internet. It shares the data package with my Canadian provider, and it doesn't cost much. It's like $10 a month extra. But it's always on the internet, so I always get updated Google Maps, which I use for navigation. And of course, it's not truck specific, but 9 cases out of 10, I have oversized loads, so I have to follow my permit route, whatever's on my permit. And on Google Maps, of course, you can just program, multiple stops, right? Which I don't do all the time, because sometimes it's just pain in the butt to program 10-20 stops, because Google tries to send you via the fastest way, as it thinks. And then I also use the tablet for my e-log, keep tracking. So it works very well, very cool. But another problem with this, so problem one is poor reception in some areas in US and some remote areas in Canada. But problem two, I was about to close my account, and so I negotiated with them 0 fees on my phone, because they charge you for it's like an access fee. When you're in US, for the privilege to use your Canadian number, they charge you a fee per day. I think at first it was like $5 per day for the maximum of 7 days, then it became $8 for the maximum of 2 weeks. So it's like $100 every month for one device. And so I negotiated 0 fee for the phone, but I said, what about the tablet? I have a tablet with you as well. No, we cannot do that for the tablet. And so they kept hitting me with this fee, you know. So, and I got so used to this. I know it's expensive, but I look at it as a business expense. It's very nice, you know, being able to look up, especially the biggest advantage for me of Google Maps is that you can look up your destination by a company name. You know, you try to do that on a regular GPS. You know, like quite often I start typing the name of the company and it'll show up on Google Maps, right? And then I'll just check the street name, the town name, yeah, same, boom, navigate, you know. And then of course second big advantage is the traffic, that it always shows you if there's stopped traffic ahead. You know, it's very nice to get a heads up about some accident or something. So I don't know, I would never drive again without Google Maps. I'm serious. They're not paying me to say this, but so I just need Google Maps and I need to be able to use Keep Trucking, right? But these guys refuse to lift my fees for US. And so I was thinking about getting a Verizon tablet, and finally I did this past weekend. I went in, there was like $9 down. And then of course there's financing. They're financing the tablet, but it shares your plan. And it's the same 7-inch, so it fits my cradle on the dash, except the Canadian one is LG and this US one it's Samsung. So same difference. So I'm gonna I already downloaded the Keep Tracking app, and so now all I have to do is when I come to the border, I have to log out of my Keep Tracking e-log on the Canadian tablet, and I have to log in, make sure that I'm logged in on the US tablet, and this way the hours, you know, do not disappear. You don't have any surprises. That's what they told me. They said just make sure you log out before you log in on the new tablet. Make sure you log out on the old one, so it's all the same account, you know. And the other news is that last time I was talking to them, I said, like, I have this 20 gigabyte plan. Is it like the best plan you guys have now? Because I use a lot of data, you know, for my YouTube videos. And they said, well, actually now we have a new plan. It gives you 50 gigabytes as base, and it's a couple of, you know, like $20 more for the base rate with what I have now compared to what I have now. I said, hey, sign me up, skipper. And so they signed me up, and they sent me this big envelope with terms and conditions. Okay, and last but not least is this FedEx envelope. So that's what I got my original bill of sale in, the one I waited one day in Port Huron, right, because they turned me around. And check this out. It says to Sergei Drachev. That's line 1. Line 2 says Marathon Gas Station, Gratiot Road, Kimball, Michigan, 48074. And I talked about this, right? That particular intersection over there, it can be Kimball, it can be Smith Creek, it can be Marysville. It's like very funny how they have these tiny little towns. And so I use this nice solid envelope, you know, just to keep my bills of lading that the consignee signed when I delivered the timberjack, and then the broker bill of lading with the customs Canadian customs stamp, and then the ACE manifest cover sheet also stamped by customs. And so these 3 pages are my POD, proof of delivery. And so I scanned them with my phone, and I told the broker, because we were not sure if I will receive the money, because they forgot to put in this transit code for the branch, right? And my bank said 9 out of 10 it'll be refused. It'll go back to the sender, but there's still a small chance that they will allow it, because my name was there and my address was there, right? And so yeah, I did receive it, but I told this morning I called the sender, the broker, or actually the boss of the broker I dealt with. I dealt with a girl, but her boss is a guy in Cleveland. And I told him, I said, this is the situation, so I trust you guys will, if it's returned, I trust that you will resend it. And I said, I can help you. My bank told me what was missing. So maybe you can add that transit number somewhere in the notes, in comments, because that's what they told me. They said, if he cannot find, like, there's no field on his computer software where to put the transit number for the Canadian bank, she said there's always some kind of like a field for notes or comments, and they said that's where you can put in as long as it's somewhere, you know. And I said, oh, and because I didn't receive the payment, I said I will wait with sending you the proof of delivery till I have the money. You know, at least you have some leverage, you know. And so then at 3:30, right, I checked my balance on my phone. I see the money, so right away I sent them the email. I said, full payment received, your POD is attached, you know, nice doing business with you. And that's it. So that was my day today. So I talked to 3 or 4 brokers, almost got the load. The broker was okay with my rate. And then I emailed her, I said, so how are we doing? Like, are you sending me the rate confirmation? She says, I'm working on it. And then 2 minutes later, she sends me a message saying, just hang up with the shipper. They found somebody $900 cheaper. So what do you do? If somebody wants to do a load for cheap, that's their issue. And I replied, I said, no problem. Chances are they will be calling us. Because usually cheap carriers, they have some issues, you know, old truck, or they don't show up, so I'm not too upset. But this was Monday. Surprisingly, for Monday, there was a lot of activity on the load board because I guess people are trying to ship stuff before the long weekend, Thanksgiving in the States. So hopefully I'll find something tomorrow or Wednesday. I don't know. I'm okay sitting in the States. If I can load, let's say Wednesday, and then deliver in the States after the Thanksgiving, I'm okay with that. I just cannot sit forever, without making any money. So that was a quick update from Cambridge. Hope you guys are doing good. Thanks for watching. Take care.